Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. This video explains the sixth hexagram in I-Ching called conflict. So the images, it has a heaven or sky on the outside triagram and water on the inside. It's exactly the flipping image of the prior hexagram called the waiting. Because the waiting one is water on the outside and heaven on the inside. So because of that intricate relationship of inversion, it actually means that if we're not able to properly follow the guidance of the fifth hexagram and not handling our inner needs, desires, or wants properly, then it creates conflict. It creates litigation situations because your needs are not met and you're only advocating for yourself. But actually, the whole meaning of this sixth hexagram is not about how to kind of get the upper hand, how to advocate for your interest in a conflict situation. That's not the point at all. The point is actually about how do you take precaution. For instance, before you sign a contract, really pay attention to the verbiage or the details, or when you form a partnership, really do your homework about who you're partnering with. It's being precautions, taking extra care that you don't have to get yourself into a conflict situation. And let's say if you've done all this precaution and you have to get into a litigation situation, it's about how do we de-escalate and get ourselves out of it as soon as we can versus constantly pursuing and perpetuate the problem. So that's the true meaning of this sixth hexagram. It's actually similar to the art of war. That whole book is not about how to win a war. It's about how do you even prevent yourself from getting into a war. So that's kind of the similarity between the two. Now we look at each individual line. So the first line is the yin line. So first line typically represents the beginning phase of a stage of a situation. So in this conflict situation, because it's in the minor stage, it's a tiny issue. It's not something so escalated or huge. So when you deal with something small and you cannot take precaution to prevent it, you have to get into a conflict situation. The advice here is get it done with as soon as you can. Do not prolong it, because prolonging it will get you into a very dangerous and risky position. So it's about resolving disputes as soon as possible. Because it's a yin line, it's not about pushing forward. It's about playing defense versus offense. So that's the point of it. And the second line is a yang line. It's pairing a relationship is with the fifth line, because the second one is paired and collaborating with the fifth one. But because both of them are in the middle, the problem is they're both yang and the same repels each other. And the second one is at a lower level, and the fifth one, my opponent, is at a higher level. So in this case, the whole situation, I'm in a very unfavorable spot. I'm fighting with somebody stronger in a more with more positional power. So in that case, the whole situation is so unfavorable to me. The wise thing to do is to retreat, back off, stop, just stop the whole conflict process and hide. If you're able to do that because you're retreating from an outmatched opponent, that's the smart thing to do. Not only you're able to preserve your own self-interest, but you can also spare other people related to you, like family, friends, or partners, from potential danger. So that's the wisdom from the second line, is back off and retreat. If you ignore this and constantly just go heads on, that will get yourself in a very trapped and undesirable result. The third line is a yin line. Similarly, I want to be on the defense. unless I get pushed to a corner, I have to fight. My preferred way is to not fight. So this third line is about keep steady. If your prediction result is primarily this one, is about do not take a change. Keep your situation status quo, respect tradition, just being prudent and enjoy your day-to-day routine, because by taking this type of approach, you can avoid crisis. So let's say in a real life situation, you feel like at work, you deserve a promotion, you work really hard, but a peer maybe end up getting the promotion. You might feel like there's some unfairness going on. If your predictions result is the third line, do not proceed to challenge the result or trying to advocate for your self-interest, because that will lead to more damage than good. The wise thing to do is keep it steady, go back to your normal routine, do not seek change. So that's the advice for this one. Otherwise, you'll evoke a lot of self-incurred damage and crisis. The fourth line is a yang line, and it's collaborating pairing relationship is the first, because both are on the initial stage of the external and internal triagram. So looking at its partner, the reaction for the first line is about do not engage, stop as soon as you can reach resolution. So if your counterpart is already retreating and backing down, you have nobody else to fight with or to suit with. So in this case, I need to retreat as well. So this fourth line is about kind of changing your mentality from a fighting mode to a peaceful mode, and just go back to my day-to-day life, right? Because if you're able to do that and get yourself out of this conflict mode, whatever your motivation is, that will bring good fortune. But if you're not able to do that and keep on fighting it, it's kind of like a ram rushing into a fence and get all entangled. The horn get caught in there. You're not gonna end up in a positive way for yourself. So moving on to the fifth one, this is the essence of this conflict hexagram. It's about I took all the precaution. If I need to back down, I did. But in a situation that I tried all of this de-escalation method, and the situation justified going through the whole litigation process. In this case, you have this extreme good fortune of encountering somebody who's so respecting the justice system. They're gonna advocate for the right thing that follows the law. And because in your case, your situation is on the side of the right versus on the wrong, and you have this guy in power supporting you and seeing the truth, that's why the result is wonderful. This line's description, it has the best possible outcome of this broad spectrum of different results, from extremely good to extremely harmful. This one is that top 1% of awesome result. So if you end up getting this line, congratulations. That means whatever question you're asking is super favorable, because you get the tailwind, you get all the support environmentally. The last sixth line, this is like things gone too far, right? We know this is the beginning, this is the end. If in the end of a conflict, you still don't respect the guidance from this conflict hexagram, and you still want to charge ahead and proceed, you don't know when to stop, it's very bad, because even though on the surface you might win the case, in the long run, it's gonna cause way more harm than good. The line description is actually really vivid. It's about this person got the reward of this belt from the emperor, meaning that you're my guest of honor, but within the day, it got taken away. several times. So that tells you something, right? Like, even though you seem you won, you really lost. And it's a lot of self-incurred disrespect, maybe financial damage or relationship damage from not understanding the whole point of de-escalation and having to escalate the whole thing to the finish line, even though you could have resolved it earlier, then it will bring really unfortunate result. So that's an overview of the sixth hexagram called conflict. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.